So I think we all know that New Year's resolutions suck. You set up a whole bunch of them before the end of the year, and they're all just kind of random goals and ideas just floating off into the ether. And the goals never really translate into real life habits that you actually maintain throughout the following year. After years of failed attempts at New Year's resolutions, I finally had to sit down and ask myself, what makes habits, good or bad, stick? And why will I do the absolute most for certain habits, but for others, I won't even lift a finger? Then I finally found my answer. My favorite boba tea place. So for years, I would go there almost every single day. And for added context, this place was about 10-ish miles away from my house. And if you know anything about LA County, freeway traffic, that might as well be in a foreign country. Then the added temperature change, going from the low-level mountains into just complete desert, it felt like your brain was frying just sitting on the 5 freeway in traffic. But for some reason, it was completely worth it to me. And that reason was their stamp card system. Stamp system worked like this. For every tea that you purchased, not every order, you received a stamp. After 20 stamps, you got $10 off your next purchase, which basically equated to 2 extra large teas with all the extra toppings and whatnot. And there were no order minimums. So with that kind of deal, you can believe I got my chunky little butt over there as many times as I possibly could. Now, years later, in the current day, I've since moved, so I'm not able to go there as often. After enough brainstorming, I was able to realize that for me to be motivated to do something difficult, I need a certain type of reward. At my favorite boba place, they weren't rewarding me because I had the perfect order or because I scored 100% on trivia about one of the baristas. I got rewarded for showing up and following through, which I mean, I guess that's the only thing you can do inside of a restaurant. They're not going to give you a stamp for just standing there and breathing. But that's besides the point. So I had to figure out how to integrate this into an actual functioning system. I didn't want to make it too easy to where I'm just stamping away randomly for random tasks, like writing out a to-do list. I don't need a stamp for that. And I didn't want to feel spread too thin across too many projects at one time, trying to manage between all my New Year's resolutions and my goals and whatnot. So I took all of the randomized New Year's goal ideas that I had and I modified them according to my version of a SMART goal. The standard SMART goal framework correlates to specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, but I changed mine to specific, measurable, the reason, and then actionable and time-bound. I did this because I feel as though I'm very realistic when it comes to my goals. I'm not trying to make $1.5 billion in a month, so I don't really need it to be achievable, but I do need to see a reason behind the goal, and I need to see the actions that I would take on a day-by-day basis. Because I believe, what was it, last year? I made a random goal of trying to read 100 books in 1 year. And I think I was just inspired by someone else who posted about reading over 100 books in 1 year. And I didn't end up making that goal. But I realized why I was always falling short as the month and quarterly reviews came in for that. And it's because there was no real reason behind doing it. Most people would say, oh, I want to increase my literacy and be a little bit more well-read and all of that. And that's fine. But I don't really feel as though I need that. And the books that I would need to read for my career goals this year, I believe I've already read all of them. So just reading a bunch of novels just for the sake of reading 100 novels in 1 year doesn't really serve me anything. And it's not getting me a result that I'm actually trying to seek in this following year. So after making the SMART goals, I sectioned my year off into quarters, and I divide my achievements between them. Then based off of that, I create a daily, weekly agenda based off of the actionable and time-bound steps of my SMART goal. Then from there, I decide how many stamps each thing is going to be worth. And as you can see, my calendar is pretty stacked, but I am very proud of myself because I finished learning how to code in Godot before the beginning of the year. I finished it on New Year's Eve because let's just be honest, some of these items on my daily to-do list, I don't want to do. Like most people, sometimes you wake up and you're like, screw that sketchbook. I don't feel like drawing. But you still need to get your drawing routine together. So sometimes you gotta rank the stuff you don't want to do a little bit higher. That way you know you'll actually do it. So, for example, one of the things that could easily be knocked out very quickly this quarter for me is the writing ebook that I'm working on right now. It's called The Artist's Guide to Writing. So this book is a storytelling, narrative, and writing educational book. It has workbook sections after each chapter. It has a character design mentor, and it has several artist and writer's block exercises so that this entire book does everything. It covers all of the avenues and issues that could come up with an artist who's learning how to write and craft a narrative for the characters or world that they've already established through their artwork. I have poured out all of the knowledge that I have as a artist, a storyboard artist, a co-writer, you name it. I've worked on so many projects. I have an IMDb credit, and I just really loaded this full of information. And I'm so excited to be able to launch it by the end of this quarter. So anyone who's interested, let me know in the comments. And I definitely want to keep this YouTube channel's audience in the loop. Before I get ahead of myself, the thing that I work on next would be making out a list of rewards. Because after you fill up your stamp card, you're going to have to get a reward. That's the whole point of doing the stamp card. So if anyone watching has seen my previous video, I've spoken about my Gamified Notion template, and I do my stamp reward system right within the template. For reference, just to kind of go on a little bit of a rabbit hole, you have the entire Notion template. I added this stamp card system, stamp card progress system, so that you can log all your stamp cards, how long it took you to fill it up, and the reward points, and all of it automatically goes into your player experience, which is basically like a point system, and the points unlock different rewards. You have quests that are like projects, and when you complete them, the points go into the player experience, and then the player experience unlocks different rewards, and it does all of this automatically. And then once you have a reward that's able to be unlocked, it goes from a little locked symbol to a little present symbol. It's so cute. So the way that I like to set up my own rewards is that it's something that I just look forward to. Something where maybe I'm like, oh, I don't really want to spend money on that throughout the year. I'll decide to splurge on myself a little bit. Like if I want a new nail polish or I want to try out a new face mask, like a sheet mask, then it'll go in the rewards area. And when I unlock it, I won't feel guilty about splurging a little bit. So now you have to figure out how many stamp placements are going to be on one card. For me, I know that I'm very focused when I work and I like to get a lot of stuff done in one day, and I use time blocking. So I know that I'll be kind of going through stamps. So my stamp card is 50 stamps. You can scale it however, because for me, 50 also accounts for the fact that, like I said prior, one stamp card equals one project to me, and one project gives you one reward. The way that I kind of figured that out is because my projects tend to be very large, something like an entire issue of a comic, and you could be painting a panel or inking something or storyboarding, and you could spend hours in one day on something, and then by the end of the day, you might not have even fully completed something to be able to check it off. And I found that that usually just discourages me from even wanting to work. So the stamp system kind of bulks that up by being able to give me that little dopamine incentive for long days of work, whether I've actually completed a task for a project fully. So to kind of summarize everything that I've went over on how I established this system, these are my quarter one goals. They became my quarter one tasks. And then that leads into the stamp card and my active projects. And then these are how many rewards I've unlocked so far. And for reference, here is my stamp card that I've been working on since December. As you can see, she is definitely full of stamps. So thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. And again, for anyone interested in my Notion template, it's under Gamified Notion template, and you can find it at coralochre.weebly.com, and it's currently on sale for $5. And for anyone interested in the Artist's Guide to Writing, that should be coming out by the end of this quarter. I believe somewhere in March, I would like to launch it, if not earlier. So let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comments section. Until next time, bye.